Hi everyone, it's Paige. For our policy project, I chose to focus on the Elder Justice Act. The Elder Justice Act was enacted in 2010. Primarily, the government funds $100 million federally towards adult protective services, but an additional $25 million goes to long-term care ombudsman program, elder abuse forensic centers, and elder abuse coordinating council for federal agencies. So my primary resource was the Wisconsin Department of Health and Human Services. And this is where the most information about adult protective services was found. So what is adult protective services? Basically, this agency protects. So I'm gonna focus on seniors. So with elder abuse, it protects elders at risk who are 60 or older from abuse, neglect, self-neglect, and financial exploitation. And then they provide services such as they assign you a caseworker to assess your safety, reduce danger. And then they might also provide healthcare assistance, aging services like transportation, nutrition, possibly housing. And then there might be criminal justice intervention if there was abuse or financial exploitation. And then counseling in terms of mental health, financial. They might appoint you a legal advocate as well. And then part of the reason that I chose this was because I'm actually doing my field placement with Rock County Human Services with Child Protective Services, but this seemed really interesting because I didn't know that there was such a thing as adult protective services before this project. So adult protective services actually encompasses more than just elders at risk. It's a service that's provided with any adult with a developmental disability, a brain disorder, severe mental illness, or just someone who's incapable from keeping themselves safe from abuse, neglect, or financially exploited. So, and then with adult protective services, there is a subsection that specifically looks at an elder adult at risk. Okay, so anybody 60 or older who is experiencing, has experienced, or is at risk of experiencing abuse, neglect, self-neglect, or financial exploitation. And then my critique of this policy is that as a pro, obviously it's really important to protect and advocate for seniors. I think a lot of times the older population is kind of looked at as invisible or less important, which is something kind of like a theme that we've talked about throughout this course. And then a con is that so if you go on to the state of Wisconsin's Health and Human Services website, or even Rock County or the different counties, it's always grouped with aging and disabilities. And honestly, I feel like aging should be its own entity. It should be its own department. And then there's just a lack of awareness. I had never heard of adult protective services, let alone, I mean, I obviously had heard about elder abuse. I just had no idea that there was actually an entire policy designed around it, or that there was an agency called APS, because you really only hear about CPS, or Child Protective Services. And then my suggestions to improve this policy would be to create a division specifically for the aging population, especially since the aging population, or the 60 plus, 65 plus population, just continues to grow, and services are obviously going to grow with that, or the need of services will grow as the population grows. And then just an increase in awareness, because like I had said before, I had no idea, and I feel like the general public would have absolutely no idea that adult protective services is even a thing, or that, the Justice for Elders is a policy that exists. And then this is just an ad: respect your elders, report abuse, because that's really important to take measures to keep all people safe. Thank you.